Tonight, something will happen that has happened every single night of your life. The lights will go off, and for just a second, maybe less than a second, something inside you will react. A tiny flicker of unease, a subtle awareness of the room around you, a quiet alertness that wasn't there a moment ago. You probably ignore it. You've learned to ignore it. You're an adult. You know the dark is safe. But that reaction, that flicker, it is not weakness. It is not irrational. It is 3 million years of survival programming, firing exactly the way it was designed to fire. And the story of why that happens changes everything you think you know about fear, about the human brain, and about what it means to feel safe. Let's start with the dark itself, because for most of human history, darkness was not just an inconvenience. It was a death sentence. Imagine standing outside 100,000 years ago. No cities, no streetlights, no phone in your pocket. When the sun went down, the world didn't just get darker. It became a completely different place, a place where you were no longer the most dangerous thing around. Leopards hunt at night. Hyenas hunt at night. Lions are most active between sunset and sunrise. And every single one of these predators could see in the dark, far better than you ever could. Your eyes are terrible in low light. Compared to a leopard, you are essentially blind after sunset. You cannot smell predators from a distance. You cannot hear their footsteps until it is already too late. In darkness, every single advantage that makes humans dominant, our intelligence, our tools, our coordination, becomes almost useless because you cannot use what you cannot see. For 3 million years, the humans who survived were the ones who felt afraid in the dark, the ones who stayed close to camp, the ones who didn't wander out at night because something felt wrong. That feeling wasn't weakness. That feeling was the reason their bloodline continued at all. The ones who weren't afraid of the dark, they disappeared. But here's where it gets fascinating. Because fear of the dark is not simply about predators. Scientists studying this found something unexpected. In 2012, researchers at the University of Toronto ran a series of experiments on darkness and human perception. What they discovered was strange. People in dark rooms didn't just feel more afraid. They felt more uncertain, more aware of what they didn't know, more sensitive to ambiguity in situations that had nothing to do with physical danger. Darkness doesn't just make you scared of what might be there. It makes you scared of what you don't know. And that is a completely different kind of fear. Fear of the unknown itself, fear of uncertainty, fear of the possibility of danger, which is sometimes more powerful than danger itself. Think about every horror movie ever made. The monster is always scariest before you see it. The sound in the basement, the shadow in the hallway, the shape behind the curtain. The moment the monster is revealed, the fear drops. Because now you know what it is. Now your brain can calculate. Darkness removes that ability to calculate entirely. Your brain, faced with total uncertainty, does the only rational thing it can. It assumes danger. It prepares for the worst. It floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol, and heightened sensory awareness, just in case. It is not irrational. It is the most rational response possible given the information available. You are afraid of the dark because your brain is working perfectly. Now, here is the part nobody tells you. Fear of the dark is not the same for everyone, and the difference reveals something extraordinary about how the human brain actually works. Most young children develop fear of the dark between ages 2 and 4, not because anyone teaches them to be afraid, not because they have seen a scary movie, but because somewhere around that age, the brain becomes sophisticated enough to imagine things that aren't there, to project possibilities into empty space, to understand that the darkness contains unknowns. Fear of the dark is literally a sign of developing imagination. Babies don't fear the dark. Babies cannot yet imagine what might be hiding in it. The moment a child starts fearing the dark is the moment they have become cognitively advanced enough to model possibilities, to think about what could be there even when they can't see it. In other words, fear of the dark arrives at exactly the same time as creativity. They are the same cognitive mechanism, the ability to imagine what isn't visible, to project scenarios into the unknown, to think beyond what is directly in front of you. The same brain that is afraid of what might be in the dark corner of your bedroom is the same brain that invented stories, religion, art, science, and civilization. Fear of the dark and human imagination are not separate things. They are the same thing. But the story goes even deeper, because darkness does something to the human brain that goes far beyond simple fear. In 2019, neuroscientists studying the brain's response to darkness found something remarkable. When humans are in complete darkness for extended periods, the The brain doesn't simply become more fearful. It becomes more active in specific ways. Memory consolidation speeds up. Pattern recognition intensifies. The brain begins generating its own internal imagery. Not dreams exactly, but something between waking thought and dreaming. Your brain, deprived of external visual input, begins to create its own. This is why sensory deprivation tanks produce such vivid internal experiences. This is why meditation in dark rooms can be so powerful. This is why ancient cultures across the world used darkness intentionally. In caves, in temples, in ceremonial spaces, to induce altered states of consciousness. Darkness doesn't just frighten the human brain. It activates parts of the human brain that light never reaches. The ancient Greeks had a god named Erebus, the primordial darkness that existed before the world began. The ancient Egyptians feared a snake god named Apophis, who lived in the darkness beyond the horizon, and tried to swallow the sun every night. Nearly every ancient civilization built stories and rituals around darkness, not because they were primitive, but because they understood something real. Darkness changes the human mind in ways that are still not fully understood. So what happens in your brain in the seconds after the lights go off? First, your pupils dilate to maximum size, trying to absorb every available photon of light. This happens in milliseconds, completely automatically. Then your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, activates. It starts scanning for threat signatures, movement, sound, any input that could indicate danger. Your hearing becomes measurably sharper. Studies have shown that humans in darkness can detect sounds at significantly lower volumes than in lit environments. Your brain is compensating, reallocating attention from vision to hearing. Your body releases a small amount of cortisol, not enough to panic, but enough to raise baseline alertness. Your heart rate increases slightly. Your muscles subtly prime themselves for movement. And all of this happens automatically, without your permission, without your awareness. In the time it takes to reach for a light switch, 3 million years of programming activated in milliseconds, every single night of your life. And here is the final piece of the puzzle, the one that should genuinely change how you think about this. You will probably never be in real danger in the dark. Not tonight, not tomorrow night, not for the rest of your life. The leopards are gone from your neighborhood. The hyenas are not waiting outside your door. The darkness in your bedroom is perfectly, completely, historically safe. But your brain doesn't know that. Your brain was not built for this world. It was built for the African savanna 100,000 years ago. It was built for a world where darkness meant something real and immediate and lethal. And no matter how many centuries pass, no matter how many light bulbs we invent, that ancient program runs every single night. Researchers have found that even people who consciously know they are completely safe still show measurable physiological responses to darkness. The cortisol still releases. The amygdala still activates. The hearing still sharpens. You cannot think your way out of it, because it doesn't happen in the thinking part of your brain. It happens somewhere much older, much deeper, a part of your brain that has never seen a light bulb, a part that still believes every single night that the sun has gone down and the predators are awake, and you are small and slow and nearly blind in the dark. Tonight, when the lights go off, you will feel it again, that flicker, that quiet awareness. Don't fight it. It is the oldest thing about you. It kept every single one of your ancestors alive long enough to have children. And somewhere in the 3 million years between that first frightened human crouching near a fire and you lying in your bed tonight, that fear became part of what it means to be human. The dark never changed. We just learned to turn on the lights.